Hey folks, Aaron here, otherwise known as Ivor Fowler, and we're going to do something a little bit different this time. We are going to look at a draft I did in Magic the Gathering Arena's draft format that came out about a week ago now. I believe it's over for the Hour of Devastation draft. But what I thought we could do is we could go through my picks. I could tell you why I chose certain cards over others. And then we'll just see what we came up with at the end. Now I can say going into this deck didn't do too well. I went 1 and 3 with the deck, which as you can see can go up to 7 wins. Isn't tremendous, however, as we go through, we'll see what I picked up. I feel there were a couple picks that were probably not great. So let's go through the video. So drafting will cost you 5,750 to go into, which is quite important as there's a new one starting. So this is our first pack we got, which was Hour of Devastation. And right off the bat, I'm looking through and I'm kind of torn between Supreme Will and Solemnity, and I picked Supreme Will. Now I'm going to pause it here. The main reason why I chose Supreme Will over Solemnity is the utility you get from Supreme Will. Now, Supreme Will is a blue instant for 2 and 1 blue, which has 2 functions to it. One is you can counter a spell that costs 3 or less, and the other is to search the top 4 of your deck and choose a card and put the rest on the bottom. Solemnity, if I remember correctly, it stops all counters from going onto cards. In a Hour of Devastation Amonkhet draft, you're more likely to counter something you want to counterspell versus something you don't want to have any counters on. So for me, the first pick was always going to be Supreme Will. So we move on to this pack, and I'll be honest, I'm not a good drafter, especially with the Hour of Devastation packs. But with Hour of Devastation, there are some very key cool cards, and one of them is the uncommon in red, Abrade. Abrade is another multi-function card, just like Supreme Will, as it's 1 in a red, and it either lets you just deal 3 damage to a target creature, or destroy an artifact. Again, we're looking at that double function here with the cards in draft, because as you are picking 1 card per pack, you can't pre-make your deck, you are literally picking what you can. Finding the best value for the mana you play and the picks you choose is absolutely key. So for me, I would always choose Abrade from this pack. To be honest, I feel Abrade is one of the best picks in Hour of Devastation. So picking Abrade is very good. So let's move on to pick 3. Now pick 3 is, I feel, where it starts to go a little bit awry. So let's pause it here. So there's still a rare in the pack, which is the Endless Sand card, a land desert, which taps for 1 colorless, or you could pay 2 to exile a target creature you control, and then you may sacrifice the Endless Sands to return each creature at exile with Endless Sands to the battlefield under its under control. I've never known when I'd want to do this. It's pretty mediocre. And then we move on to the uncommon, which is Unraveling Money, which is a 1 in white and black for 2/3 zombie, which you can give a zombie lifelink or death touch for playing a certain mana cost. This one again, I'm not intrigued by, as we've already kind of chosen the colour path we want to go down, which is red and blue. So picking up Unraveling Mummy right now would be completely going off kilter. And from what I can gather with the drafting on Magic the Gathering Arena, you're not actually drafting with other people, you're drafting with the computer, and they're kind of getting rid of a random card every time. That's how I think it works. It honestly, after playing Magic the Gathering Online, where you are in a actual pod of 8 people, all drafting one card at a time and it can go slow. This is very instant. There's always a card to pick up. So unless you are playing with every single person and whenever something comes up you can get it, or I would assume it's the computer. Anyway, so let's move through the picks here. We have, in our chosen colours, Proven Combatant, which is a 1 blue for a 1/1, with an Eternalize, I believe, of 6, which is 4 and double blue. Eternalize is a function, which is if it's in the graveyard, you can pay its Eternalize cost, and it comes back as a 4/4. On some of the most notable cards, Eternalize is absolutely amazing, and something like Champion of Wits, which lets you draw cards equal to its power and then discard 2. Proven Combatant is not such a thing. It is just a vanilla 1/1, no effects. Then we have the Blur of Blades, which is a 1/1 red instant, which has the power, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature, and Blur of Blades deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. Honestly, now looking at this pick, I probably would have picked up the Blur of Blades, as it's actually quite a nice piece of removal and downtrodden. I instead pick a wall called the Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, which is a 2-mana artifact creature, which is a 0/4. However, you can tap it to deal 1 damage to your opponent, as long as you control the desert. Now, in this list, we don't pick up one. So this pack here gives us 3 options. We have the Aerial Guide, which is a flying 2/2, for 3 mana, which when it attacks gives you another thing flying. Defiant Kenra, which is a 2/2 for 2, well, 1 in the red. And we have Kenra Scrapper, which is 2 and 1 red, a 2/3 menace, which you may exert Kenra Scrapper as it attacks, and if you do, it gets +2, so it becomes a 4/3. Now, if I had to choose now, I would probably choose Kenra Scrapper. But we go, for this pick, to Aerial Guide. To be honest, Aerial Guide is still pretty decent, but we went Aerial Guide instead. So again, we've got a few picks. We've got Granitic Titan, a 6-mana 5/4 with Menace, with cycling of 2, so you can discard it for its mana cost and draw a new card. Firebrand Archer, a 2/1 for a 1 and a red, which whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. Very nice. Countervailing Winds, a 2 and a blue instant that lets you counter a target spell unless its controller plays X for each card in your graveyard. X is 1 in this case, so it would be for every 1 of your cards. And has a cycling of 2. And then finally Inferno Jet, which is 5 and a red for a sorcery which deals 6 damage to target opponent or planeswalker and a cycling cost of 2. Here we pick up I believe it's the Granitic Titan, but the Firebrand Archer probably would have been a nicer pick earlier, but I think I was looking for a bomb here, so a large endgame kind of creature that can help get us through the last few points of damage. Oh, I did go for the Firebrand Archer. However, for this one we have Ipnu Rivulet, which is the blue desert, which has an effect of you sacrificing a desert, and a target player puts top 4 cards of the library into the graveyard. Then we also have a Defiant Kenra and Granitic Type, which we've seen in a couple of packs previously, and a Striped Riverwinder, which is 6 and a blue for a 5/5 with hexproof and a cycling of blue. In this pick, the Riverwinder is actually a good call. It's 7 mana, sure, but a 5/5 with hexproof is nothing to snort at. It's very powerful. If you can get it, because it's a single blue, we can splash it. However, I feel we go for the Granitic Titan, which again, we were going for a bomb, and it is a bomb. Now in this pack, we have Gilded Ceradon, which if you track and you control a desert, something can't block for 5 mana for a 4/4. It's actually pretty nice. But I think I went greedy with the bombs and went with a Striped Riverwinder, which isn't the best, I will be honest. Or did we go with the Ceradon? I'll be honest, I'm watching this back for the first time. This is how I don't know off the top of my head every single pick I made. So here we've got our first different card that we haven't seen for our colours, which is Crash Through, which is 1 red sorcery, which gives creatures you control trample until the end of turn, and you get to draw a card. Now, the best card I can see similar to this was I think it's Warlord's Fury, it's called, from Dominaria, which gives all your creatures first strike and draw a card for the same mana and the same speed. Hour of Devastation had this. It's a decent card, especially for just cycling through your deck. And if you have got a lot of high-powered toughness cards, it's good to get through. So we go for that. So we're now onto the same pack we started with, which has Solemnity. There you go. Players can't get counters, and counters can't be put on artifact, creatures, enchantments, or lands. But we have this little guy, the Thorned Moloch, a 2/2 for 3 mana, with first strike as long as it attacks, and Prowess, which, as you can read there, is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Prowess is a very powerful effect, especially in a red-blue build. We look at Chandra's Defeat, which deals 5 damage to a target red creature or planeswalker, and if it's a Chandra planeswalker, I believe you get to draw. So I'm here debating whether to go for the Solemnity because it's a rare, and you keep all the cards you draft, or to go on theme here and go with the Thorned Moloch. Thorned Moloch it is. Now we've got 2 interesting picks here. We have Strategic Planning, and Defiant Camera has spun around again. Defiant Planning is very cool, as it's a kind of mini Supreme Will for 2, 1 and a blue. You look at the top 3 cards of your library and you put 1 of them into your hand. Now the downside of it, though, versus Supreme Will, is you have to put the rest in your graveyard rather than cycle them back. So, and there's Claim to Fame, which is a dual card. Again, it's not in our colours, so I ignore it quite quickly. I think I go for the 2/2 here just because we don't have many low-costing creatures. So for pack 1, I'll kind of want to get on the board a bit and just get another 2/2. This pack for this pick is pretty bad for us, so we'd go for the 3/1 Horror. Now we're not in our own colours, so it's just picking what could be handy later on. So Gift of Strength, which we move straight to the sideboard as we're not going to be playing that colour. I believe we go here Beneath the Sand. Okay, most of the last picks here are very non-sequential. But that was our pack 1. So we're now on to pack 2. Now, excuse the buffering on the video. This is, again, I am watching this all back, so it is stuttering a little bit. So let's pause it on the opening of pack 2 and see what we got. So we have a dual card of Reason to Believe. It only shows the reason side up in Magic the Arena right now. There we go. So Reason to Believe is a dual-sided card with Aftermath. Aftermath means that you can play its Aftermath side from the graveyard. So we have Reason, which lets you scry 3 for 1 blue, and then it goes into Believe, which is 4 and a green for a sorcery that lets you look at the top card of your library and put it onto the battlefield if it's a creature. If not, put it into your hand. So the idea really is that you can just set up essentially your next 3 turns and then go into the card you want to go into. So, good and bad. In our colours, we've got Kenra Scrapper, Unsummon, Firebrand Archer, and, if I stop highlighting Kenra Scrapper, the Gilded Ceradon. So we know kind of what these cards are. Some of them are good. I will be honest, the Unsummon here is shouting to me. Firebrand Archer is also quite a good pick, but we would need more spells. So we go for the Firebrand Archer. Now let's pause here. New card for our colours: Ominous Sphinx. It's a 3 colorless and double blue 4/4 Sphinx with flying. And it does have an effect, which is whenever you cycle or discard a card, you target creature in opponent control gets -2 until turn. However, we're not running many cycle cards, so it's more really, we're looking at it as being a 4/4/4/5 mana. Other cards of note in this pack are the Kenra Scrapper again, and the Unsummon. My pick here is Ominous Sphinx. I would choose it over the Granitic Titan every single time, as we do need something to get over. A flying 4/4 is always nice. It's why Glorybringer is so good, but Glorybringer has haste. I think we see that in this draft as well. So here we have a prime example of where we've got quite a few options to choose from. And this card is notable, especially in Paper Magic for Standard, as being banned. Ramanap Ruins, the land similar to Ipnu Rivulet, I think what we saw earlier. It has a tap for colourless, pay a life and tap it for a red, or 2 double red, you tap it and you sacrifice a desert, which can be itself, and deal 2 damage to each opponent. This card was banned quite quickly, and I pick it up because it was banned, and it's very, very powerful. So here we've got in our next pack, we have pretty much standard issue what we've been seeing so far. Strategic Playing Game sold on. There is a Seer of the Last Tomorrow, which is a 1/4 for 2 and a blue, and it has the ability of blue, and tap it to discard a card, and target player puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. If we were on a mill strategy, I would choose it, but we're not, so it's not calling to me, as otherwise we're just paying 3 mana for a 1/4. And we go for the planning. Here it's pretty much a snap keep of Supreme Will. I don't even have to know. The Scavenging Grounds Desert is pretty nice, but again, just in case that Supreme Will doesn't come around, we want to keep it. So, a few new cards here. We have Consign, I believe it's Consign to Oblivion, which is another dual card. We could be picking these up for their one side, but I kind of tend to ignore them because most of them aren't in our colour pairings. We then have Tragic Lesson, which is a 2 and a blue for an instant. That lets you draw 2 and discard a card unless you return a land you control to its owner's hand. Pretty nice card, but we've already got quite a lot of draw engine in the deck, so we don't need another one. And then we have Frontline Devastator, a 4 mana for 3/3 with an effect which is 1 and a red, and Frontline Devastator gives you +1/0 into end of turn and Afflict 2. What Afflict does is whenever it's blocked, it deals damage equal to the Afflict number next to it. So that was a quick, pick. That was, I believe that was just a pick of Unsummon. So here there is an Apocalypse Demon for black. So if we were going in black right now, this could actually be quite nice, as it can get bigger based on your graveyard. However, we're not there. We are way far away from being in black. And the obvious pick for me personally is probably the second Unsummon for the deck. We have got a prowess triggering card, and let's face it, bouncing our opponents. If we can bounce tokens, fantastic. If we can have to bounce creatures, well, that's fine, because if they've got counters on them, it's going to get rid of them. So now we're back onto what our pack started out with, which is Reason to Believe sitting there, and a Gilded Ceradon. I know I'm not really going over the other cards, but there is. I'm really not going to go over the cards. I don't mean too much, otherwise I'm going to be here all day. So this is an interesting card, Crook of Condemnation. It's a 2 mana artifact which lets you exile target card from a graveyard for 1 and tapping it, or if 1 and exiling the Crook, you exile all cards from all graveyards. This card is, I would say, it's pretty decent. It's really decent in constructed, especially where graveyards do matter a little bit more because of Resurrection. In draft, it's not so much. Of course, with Hour of Devastation, we do have the Eternalized, and with Almonket we have Embalm. But again, it's going to be very hard to see a full deck based around that, and so picking up Crook purely based on that would not be that good, which is why we go for the Unsummon. So we're back to the sub-pack with the Seer of the Last Tomorrow. I believe I do pick up the Seer over the Granitic Titan, as if we have too many Granitic... Oh, I did pick up Granitic Titan, I suppose. But we will pick up the Seer here, so the Seer does go into the deck eventually, or at least into our sealed picks. Again, we're staying on colour, or 1-3, and then the one card that's not, we just pick because we have to. So now with an Hour of Devastation draft, we go into Amonkhet. And this card here is the best pick in Amonkhet draft I think there ever will be. And I'll be honest, I was very excited when I saw this card appear, especially when we've been drafting red so... pretty much from pick 2 we've had red. Glorybringer, the 3-mana double red 4/4 dragon with flying and haste. But it also has another power, which is you may exert Glorybringer as it attacks, which means it won't untap during your next upkeep. But if you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. That's right, folks. Glorybringer not only swings on his first turn, but he can potentially kill one of your opponent's bigger threats. In draft, this card, if you can get to him consistently, wins you games. And that's what he did for me. He won me games. And our next pack also has a rare in our colours, which is Harsh Tormentor. We do end up picking the Harsh Tormentor as it's a 2/2 with 4 on colour and on mana. And he has the effect which is whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. Gotta be honest, there aren't many effects in draft for Hour of Devastation that will trigger it. However, Harsh Mentor in our colours, we have so far 4 2-drops. None of them particularly great. We've got 2 Firebrand Archers that are good. The Wall ends up staying in the deck, but it's not terrific. But we've got Harsh Mentor. Other ones of note here are the Limits of Solidarity, as it's a sorcery that lets you gain control of a creature your opponent controls and give it haste. Cancel's also worth noting here, as it's another counter spell, however it is double blue, and we already have some Supreme Wills. There is also a Minotaur Sore Shot down there for the 3-mana 2/3 with reach that can get himself bigger. And Tormenting Voice, which is a discard and draw 2. Very good card actually, Tormenting Voice. I personally ran it in a mono red Tron deck in Paper Modern. Shout out to Pleasant Kenobi on that one, because he was the one who referenced it to me, and I've been playing it and it's absolutely fun. However, we know the pick, it's Harsh Mentor, so let's just go to the next pick here when this decides to load, because you know we are having some issues, but there we go. Our next pick is another rare. It's Soulscar Mage. Soulscar Mage is currently seeing a lot of hype from Dominaria Standard, as he is a human wizard in red. And it's not just because he's on theme for the Dominaria Standard with a wizard tribal, it's also because of his effects. One of them being Prowess, which is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, he gets +1/+1, like our Thorn Moloch. It's also that if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature an opponent controls, it puts -1/-1 counters on that creature instead. So what it can do is, if something is, say, too big, it can reduce it down in size. Or if it's something that is indestructible, let's say like a god, or something like it, it reduces their power to 0 and automatically kills them as it gets around the indestructible clause, as if a creature has 0 toughness, it will have to die. And with -1/-1 counters, it would end up being permanently a 0. So it's Soulscar Mage. 3 rares in a go. Lovely stuff. Here, is where it gets a little bit shaky again. This is a very nice green pack, especially with Exemplar Strength. However, for us, it's kind of a tough call to make. I mean, Illusionary Wrappings is a card that changes something to a base 0-2 card. It loses all powers. It's very nice. But I would personally go for the Council here. Pathmaker Initiate is quite nice, but another counter spell is always good to have up your sleeve. So we'd end up with 3. I think we do end up going for it in the end. Or oh, I see. We're trying to counter if Pathmaker Initiate can actually be used for its power 2 can't be blocked. I think I initially said it's not worth it, so we go for the Council. And we move on to a pick here. That was a pure greed pick. We could have gone for Slitherblade, however I saw a rare that I get to permanently keep in my account for a deck that you'll be seeing soon, which is green-white mid-range, and I just chose the rare. So if we're going back and doing this properly, that would have probably been a Slitherblade pick. But would it have made much of a difference? Probably not. The Slitherblade's good. It's an unblockable 1-2, but there's not much else to it. So let's move on to this pick. We have got a Brute Strength, which is a nice combat trick for 1 and a red. That lets a target creature get +3 and +1 and gain Trample until end of turn. The Hyena pack with 3/4. Onward to Victory, which is a split card. Again, not going for the split card so much because there's not a red-blue one appearing in this. I actually can't remember if there is a red-blue one. So if you can remember, comment below. Here we have a very cool draw card, Hieroglyphic Illumination, which is 3 and a blue. It's an instant that you draw 2 cards, or cycle it for 1 blue, and so you just get to draw a card. Heckma Sentinels, 2 and a blue for 2/3, which is whenever you cycle, has the effect of when you cycle or discard a card, they get +1/+1. But the 2/3 is nice. Draw sometimes better. That could have been a 2/3. Honestly, either or would have been fine. Here we only have really one card in colour, which is Desert Saradin. A 6/4 for 5 mana that lets you cycle. Now this is a tough pick, because neither of them are great, but there's not much else in the pack. And that's Watchers of the Dead, the 2 mana 2/2 artifact cat, which you can exile it, and each opponent chooses 2 cards in their graveyard and exiles the rest. Or Violent Impact, which is a 4 mana sorcery which destroys target artifact or land and cycle it for 2. So like I said, neither of them are great, but neither of them are like ones that would go out. So I go for the red card to destroy land. So this is back to our Glorybringer pack here. Tormenting Voice is still there. So is Limited Solidarity. That could be a good pick here. Trying to take control of our opponent's good stuff and slam it back in their face is always nice to do. However, the Sure Shot does stop our opponents, for example, Glorybringers or aerial guys getting through, because we can then keep blocking it with a reach card, as flyers can be blocked by reach. In the end, I believe we end up with both of them. I can't remember. Yeah, there we go. We go for the Sure Shot. Here, it's Scribe of the Mindful or Hyena Pack. Scribe lets us return a target instant or sorcery for our grave, so we can recycle some cards. None of these picks is worth it, so I think we just go for the rare here. As let's face it, the rare is worth more to us. Either or. We've got a lot of green cards, so probably go for the green card. Just because why not? And then we get the final green. So after I've drafted, I've exceeded the 4 of in my deck, or in my collection rather. So it progresses what's called the Vault. The Vault is a thing which is the little chest up in the top icon. So whenever you get to a certain, well, you get to 100% with it, or a certain amount in collection, you get a little wild card, so you can then build whatever you want left. So, folks, that is the draft segment of this Hour of Devastation draft. If you would like to see the gameplay, I think I still do have it. I can make a highlight reel of some of the better plays from it. It might be worth seeing kind of where I could have done better, could have done worse. But that is completely up to you to decide. In the end, like I said, we go 1 and 3 with the deck. It's not it wasn't terrible, but I feel that the high-end cards probably weren't the best picks here. Glorybringer and Ominous Things probably would have been absolutely fine as being our final choices. And if we didn't choose that Scattered Groves, we could have had a couple more lower curve picks. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this draft segment of Hour of Devastation, and stay tuned for more content from Magic the Gathering Arena, which will include a green-white gameplay and coverage of it. And within the next few days, I believe there's a Dominaria draft, so we'll do this all over again, but with Dominaria. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later.